Okay, something that I want to talk about right now is I feel like a lot of trans masks who are choosing to medically transition, especially go on testosterone specifically, seem to face, including myself. So I'm just going to talk about myself and like mention things that I've heard other people say. Like there's an element of you getting praised for your looks at whatever degree, that if you reach a certain level of comfort receiving that as like not necessarily just on like a validation piece, but like I feel like attaching your worth to it because it's so drilled into you that like that's where your value is, you know? It's so drilled into you that there are such specific standards and things about beauty and like how you're supposed to look, obviously, duh. And a lot of the things that are supposed to feel negative about the way that you outwardly appear are things that like masculinize you. So you kind of grow up with a lot of guilt around feeling that comfort with masculinizing yourself. And like there's, especially if you grow up being praised for your looks, there's a certain level of fear that I feel like you have to process as you're entering your transition into accepting that you're gonna change in a certain way, and it's not going to make you uglier the way that a lot of people are scared of, you know? But I think in the initial processing period before you start it, there is this fear where you're just like, fuck, I'm gonna get uglier. And it's not true. And it's not true because there's such a narrative around it through those traits specifically being shamed growing up a girl, that it's so ingrained into you to not want that for yourself, you know? And at least for me, it was never like in a sense where I would think that about other people. It was just more so like if I imagine myself going through these changes, I would feel less attractive, you know? And I wasn't sure how comfortable I would be with that in the beginning. And now I'm at a point where I'm so fucking excited, and like any pain, any discomfort, any, you know, surface level downsides to things like, oh my god, you're gonna smell like shit for a little bit, probably, maybe you might get acne, you know, all the stuff that you go through as like a boy going through puberty. That shit is so surface level compared to the things that I'm getting rid of, like the disconnect to my body, the emptiness in my body. Like that shit is so irreplaceable. Like, yeah, I might not like all of the effects. They're gonna feel like me, you know? And I feel like that's a lot of the counter argument once you calm down, and like a lot of people hear is that like, hey, we can't sit here and tell you that you're going to get hotter, even though a lot of people do. I think people just look hotter when they transition because they feel more comfortable in their bodies, you know? And like, I feel like being in queer spaces and understanding and queering our perspectives and understanding attraction and like relatability and looks and connection very differently through that queering of our perspectives. And I just feel like transitioning FTM makes you really question your perspective on what it means to be attractive and to be attracted to other people. For me, I'm just gonna start talking about my personal experience. I'm like being super avoidant and talking about my personal experience and like keeping it in my head, but I feel like that's the whole point of these videos. But opening up is kind of uncomfortable sometimes. But I want to put this shit out there because it was a godsend to watch other people talk about their experiences on video, and I'm uncomfortable with it, and I don't really want to be doing this, but I know that at least one person is going to be fucking hyped to hear someone else talk about their experience. So yeah, so my experience with that is that I grew up kind of being told that I'm attractive, that I'm pretty, believing that I was attractive because other people would tell me that, and like I knew logically what it means to be attractive with a feminine body. I felt very confident about those things, and I do like how I look, genuinely, despite the dysphoria and the disconnect, you know? But growing up, I would look in the mirror and like not really be able to feel anything. Like I would see that I would look good or like cute or something when I like do a look, but it's more like I'm appreciating the way that I've like crafted my canvas. It's kind of like I see the same way that I do art, and I'm like, I look good, but it's because of the art factor of it, bro. Honestly, being trans is really about like not being afraid to face yourself. Being trans really forces you to face the things inside of you, deep inside of you, things you don't want to face and you didn't even realize you were gonna ever have to face. There are things you didn't even imagine you felt inside are gonna come out, and it's scary and it's really uncomfortable, and you're gonna be like, what do I do with that? What am I supposed to do with this? Is it even this doesn't make any sense. It's not real, it's not real, it's not real, and you're freaking out. But then you calm down, you realize it's literally the best thing that's ever happened to you, to realize you're trans. I need to focus. Feeling that connection and that alignment with myself and my body for the first time by doing those like pretty changes, it just kind of blows your mind. You're like, wow, this is me. This is me. This is finally me. I didn't even realize the attractiveness conversation. Like, if I like who's in the clothes and who's in the body, then I like the body and the clothes, whatever. Like, make space for who you actually are, because you're never ever going to be able to cure it by going against the current. If you're trans, man. Like, you just can't really fight the trans away. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who just have to withstand it and have to keep trying to fight the trans away, and I wish that this world wasn't fucking like that. When you do have the opportunity to do something about it, when you have the opportunity to have gender affirming care, put enough into it for yourself, because your transness demands a lot from you, that's for sure, but it feels completely worth it in the end. So I think that all in all, there's a big fear, and I had a big fear in the beginning that it would maybe make me less attractive, but feeling attractive truly on the inside, because I feel like me, I feel confident, I feel secure, and it's only going to get better from here, because I'm going to actually feel aligned physically with my body and how I feel on the inside. I feel so much more attractive than any superficial logic I could stuff myself with as a doll that just looked like a girl in a girl's body. Like, it only went so far. It just felt like it was insatiable. I kept having to try harder and try new styles, change it up, and as long as I was playing the role and the performance of a girl, it would stay up here forever. And it doesn't mean that I don't like femininity, because I do love femininity, but I feel like I want to have femininity with a more masculine presenting body. That's just how my gender feels to me, you know? I don't know. Being trans is crazy. Being trans is awesome and crazy.